Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to sift through the noise and bring you the key insights from important sources. Today, we're diving into something big happening with Indigo, one of India's major airlines. There's a significant strategic shift underway, and this isn't just, news about routes. It's a really fascinating look at how partnerships, fleet decisions, even geopolitics are all connected and reshaping international travel. Our mission today is to unpack Indigo's recent pivot, particularly its moves in Europe, new connections, different planes, and we're grounding this entire discussion in insights drawn from excerpts from Indigo's European shift, new partnerships, and fleet changes.
Absolutely. And what really jumps out from the material is this central theme, this pivot by Indigo. You could almost frame it, as the source suggests, like Turkish pain is Europe's gain. It really sets the scene for the changes we'll discuss.
Okay, yeah, that's a strong theme. Let's start with the latest big news then, that Indigo KLM codeshare. It went live August 1st, 2025. Just to clarify for listeners, a codeshare means airlines basically sell seats on each other's flights. It expands their reach. And Indigo announced 30 destinations in Europe and the UK through these partnerships. 16 are already up and running, ready to book, more coming soon. How big a deal is this KLM link-up in Indigo's overall plan?
Oh, it's significant. But it's not just a one-off thing. This KLM deal is part of a much bigger picture. The source material points out that back in June 2025, around the IATA AGM in Delhi, Indigo announced a whole slate of partnerships. We're talking Air France, Delta, Virgin Atlantic, alongside KLM. So it's a very deliberate, very rapid expansion of their international partnership.
Right, and that's a key point, because before this, what was their main way into Europe?
Well, specifically for Europe, Turkish Airlines was pretty much it. They were the sole codeshare partner Indigo had for that region. So this flurry of new agreements, it's a dramatic change, a real diversification. And the sources hint that we might see even more partnerships like this down the line, which means, even more options for people booking through Indigo.
Okay, so bringing it back to the listener, if you're planning a trip, what does this expansion actually mean for you, practically speaking?
It translates to, well, significantly more choice and flexibility for you, the traveler.
Yeah.
Instead of maybe just one main route or connection point via Turkish Airlines, you now have access to a much wider network. Think different hubs, potentially better timings, maybe more direct options across Europe and the UK. It makes booking internationally with Indigo a whole different ballgame.
Okay, so new partners are shaking hands. But what about the planes themselves? Because it's not just who they work with, it's what they fly. Let's unpack the fleet changes. This seems like a really dramatic part of the story, especially the move away from Turkish Airlines aircraft.
Yes, this is where things get quite interesting. Indigo's first real step into using wide-body jets was actually with a Boeing 777. They damp leased it from Turkish Airlines. That means Turkish provided the plane, the crew, maintenance, the works. That started February 2023. And it was a big jump in size, 531 seats, a huge change from their usual A320s and A321s. Then a second one came along in May 2023, also from Turkish, used for the Mumbai to Istanbul route.
So why did these leases end? What triggered that change?
Well, the crucial factor here, according to the source, was a government decision. The Indian government apparently decided not to approve extensions for these damp leases beyond the end of August 2025. The source mentions this happened within a sort of background context. It refers to something called Operation Sindoor and mentions criticism related to Turkish support for Pakistan, which is reporting what the source indicates here, the immediate effect. After August, those routes go back to the smaller A320s or A321s. And because of their range, they'll need a technical stop somewhere.
Right, so that door closes, but another opens. Enter North Atlantic. What's the deal there?
Yep. Exactly. Indigo moved pretty quickly. They've signed a new damp lease agreement, this time with North Atlantic, for multiple Boeing 787 Dreamliners, the 787-9 model. The first one actually started flying back on March 1st, 2025, from Delhi to Bangkok. And then more recently, since July 2025, it's been flying from Mumbai to Amsterdam and also to Manchester.
And what's the plan going forward with these Dreamliners? Is it just the one?
No, there's more coming. A second Dreamliner is expected around mid-September 2025. That'll let them boost the frequency on those Amsterdam and Manchester routes. And the bigger plan involves inducting all 6 of these leased Dreamliners by March 2026. So it's a pretty significant capacity upgrade for their European operations. More direct flights, too.
Okay, stepping back then. This whole fleet swap, Turkish 777s out, Norse 787s in, what does it really signify for Indigo's ambitions and for the passengers?
For Indigo, it shows a serious long-term commitment to expanding internationally, especially towards Europe. They're moving beyond what turned out to be a sort of temporary arrangement. They're getting a dedicated wide-body fleet that offers, better comfort, longer range, more non-stops. And for you, the passenger, it means a tangible improvement, more direct flight options, likely a more comfortable journey on those long hauls. It really sets the stage for their future growth.
Let's shift gears slightly. There's another piece to this puzzle: maintenance, repair, and overhaul, or MRO. It's less glamorous, but vital. The source mentioned Indigo, and Air India too, faced some criticism about deals with Turkish Technic, Turkish Airlines' engineering division.
That's correct. There was some noise about that, including apparently videos of Air India planes at their facilities. Now, the source clarifies that both airlines are still using some services from Turkish Technic, part of a deal from early 2025. But importantly, Indigo has now also signed up with Lufthansa Technic, specifically for something called redelivery checks. It's another sign of diversification, even on the operational side.
Redelivery checks, what exactly does that involve?
Okay, so when an airline leases planes, like Indigo does with most of its huge A320 family fleet, typically for about 6 years, they have to return them eventually. Redelivery checks are basically very thorough inspections and maintenance procedures required by the leasing company before they take the plane back, making sure it's in the agreed condition. And given Indigo's sheer number of planes needing replacement over the next decade, the force calls this a lucrative business opportunity for MRO providers. It's a lot of work.
That makes total sense. Volume alone makes it a big deal. But here's a question that pops up. Why Lufthansa Technic? I mean, their new partners, Air France-KLM, also have very capable MRO divisions. Why not keep it within the partnership family, so to speak?
That is a really sharp question. And the source suggests the answer might be quite practical. It indicates the choice likely came down to, hangar space availability. Lufthansa Technic presumably had the slots that better matched Indigo's schedule for returning these specific A320s. It highlights how sometimes these big strategic decisions are driven by very real-world logistics. Even with strong partners, you need the MRO slot when you need it. It can dictate who you work with long-term.
So pulling it all together now, the new code shares flooding in, replacing Turkish planes with Norse ones, shifting some MRO work to Lufthansa Technic. It really does seem to track back to that initial theme you mentioned: Turkish pain is Europe's gain.
It lines up quite neatly, doesn't it? When you connect all those dots, the partnerships, the fleet, the maintenance, you see this clear pattern of diversification away from the previous reliance. And while some of these moves might have been reactions to external factors, they also seem to fit into Indigo's broader long-term strategy. Remember, they have those A350s on order, more wide bodies planned. This isn't just tactical. The big picture for Indigo is they're building a much more diversified, robust international operation. More resilient, perhaps.
And for our listeners, for you watching this unfold, what's the bottom line? How does this affect your travel?
The bottom line for you is choice. More direct flights, especially to Europe, more airline partners to potentially connect with via Indigo, and potentially a different onboard experience with the Dreamliners compared to the older setups. It signals Indigo stepping up its game significantly in the international long-haul market.
It's a compelling story. This deep dive really shows Indigo navigating a tricky global stage, making these big strategic moves across partnerships, planes, and maintenance. It really underscores how geopolitics and business strategy are constantly interacting, shaping an airline's future path.
Absolutely. And it leaves us with something to think about, doesn't it? Consider how airlines like Indigo have to constantly adapt in this complex world. What do these kinds of major strategic realignments tell us about the future of air travel? About competition between airlines, between regions, and perhaps more personally, how might changes like these influence your own travel choices or what you expect from airlines in the years ahead?